All right, in the first derivative test, it's time for me to introduce you to my method of doing this. I really like to do the line test, and so I'm going to do this number line, and we're going to put the critical values on it, and we're going to talk about where the extrema occur. And we're talking peaks and valleys, right? Relative max or relative min. So that's a peak or a valley, also known as a relative max or relative min. So good old terms from the past. Relative min, and then we can have plateaus and things in there as well. We'll talk about those. Let's take on the derivative to get the extrema. The first derivative test is about finding extrema because you can find where the slope is 0 undefined. It's usually where those occur, so I got to get the derivative first. So we have a chain rule, something inside another function. So we're going to employ the chain rule to get the derivative. So when I take 1 from 2/3, I get negative 1/3. Remember, it's the derivative of the outside with the inside untouched times the derivative of the inside. There's my derivative. It's awesome. Would be good if that's all I needed, but I am using it. So time to simplify. So we got to do f prime of x. We're going to break this into two parts. There's the numerator, which will be 2x times 2. It'll be 4x on top, and the denominator has the 3. And it also has the x squared minus 4 to the 1/3, which is also known as a cube root. So that's the cleaned up version of it. The reason this is important is, remember, by setting the numerator equal to 0, I'm going to get the places where the derivative is 0, where f prime equals 0, where there's a horizontal tangent. That's what I'm getting by setting the numerator equal to 0 at horizontal tangent locations where there's a peak or a valley. By setting the denominator equal to 0, I'm finding where the derivative is undefined. So it's a cube root of x squared minus 4, setting that equal to 0. And that means f prime is undefined. And I have a cusp or a corner or a break in the graph. Something interesting is happening in there as well. So a lot of things can be happening there, not just horizontal tangents. Obviously, the first one's easy. X equals 0 is a critical value. And so I'm going to highlight that big and bold. That's our first critical value. The other one is if you have the denominator and it just has to be equal to 0, we can drop all this outer x3 cube root stuff. We can focus on just the x squared minus 4 being 0. And if I do that, then I can solve that just old-fashioned wise. X squared equals 4, x is plus or minus 2. So those are also critical values. 2 more to go with the one we have. That's 3 in total. So up here to my line, and I guess that's good enough. I might move it over a little bit from where I started. That was just to give you an idea, but I need a little bit more room. Look at this. There we go. I'm going to put in the the negative 2, the 0, and the 2. And what I want to know is this going uphill or downhill in the regions between there. Now, the graph, this is a horizontal line, not describing the graph at all. The graph, it's doing its business out here. There's f of x. But what I'm doing underneath here, I should probably put that in a different spot. So here's negative 2, here's 0, and then here's 2. I'm talking about, is it going uphill or downhill between those? And I drew this really poorly, and I know I did, because we know that actually this graph is consistently uphill or downhill in between those critical values, so we don't want to see a changing direction except at the critical value. So let's go back. Things that we need to do. First derivative test means get the first derivative and find where it's 0 or undefined to get critical values highlighted you see in yellow. There were 3 of them. What I'm going to do now is, like I did previously, I'm going to test values in the first derivative in the regions between each of those critical values. I'll do that in blue, so hopefully it stands out a little bit. But I'm going to test, f prime of negative 3. And it's going to be a positive or negative number, and that's going to tell me something. I'm going to test something between negative 2 and 0. I'm going to do f prime, and it's your choice. I like negative 1. Between 0 and 2, I'm probably going to pick 1. Pick easy numbers to work with. And then finally, f prime of 3. This is me testing values, and I'm putting it in those interval regions, so it's easy to notice. Now, should we go off to the side here and conduct these derivatives? Because you're going to want to see these. I'm just going to delete that other little conversation we were having off to the side, because I want to get these values of f prime. So f prime of, what do I do, negative 3 first? If I put it in there, do I get a positive or negative number? and it's 4 times negative 3. Now you can get the number or not, and it's over 3 times the cube root of x squared minus 4. And that would be 3 squared, negative 3 squared over 4 minus 4. Got it. Okay, that's me plugging it into the first derivative. And the goal is that positive or negative? Well, the top is negative, right, on top. So let's circle that. And the bottom, since we're doing negative 3 squared, that's 9 minus 4 is 5. The cube root of 5 is positive, and 3 times a positive cube root of 5 is also positive. I don't need the number. I just know it's a negative on top and a positive on the bottom. And that's good enough to tell me this is negative for that derivative tested at negative 3. And that means the whole region is negative, and that means it's all downhill in that stretch for that particular function f of x. Now we're going to test negative 1, same way. What do we get there? What kind of sign do we get? Now you can go ahead and get the number if you want, but I'm going to kind of ballpark it. Knowing the derivative is just 4x on top, I know I'm going to get a negative number on top. And on the bottom, though, I might need to work that out. I get 3 times this cube root of negative 1 squared, which is 1 minus 4. And by the way, cube roots of negatives can be negative. And so that's a cube root of a negative number. That's a negative number. So we get negative over a negative. So when that happens, that's a positive. Negative divided by negative is actually a positive value. So we're going to go over here and write in a positive. That means it's all uphill between negative 2 and 0. On to testing 1. So first derivative test is testing the first derivative at values between the critical values to determine if the slope is positive or negative, because that will be indicative of the whole region, okay, between the critical values. So we have the same issue. If I put in positive 1, this is the same thing I got as last time, except the numerator is positive and the denominator is negative. That makes it negative. So that one ends up being negative by testing 1. You can certainly go put it in your calculator and get the exact value, but I want to know its sign ultimately. Feel free to take advantage of that help. And f prime of 3, our last test. Top would be positive. The bottom would be 3 squared 9 minus 4 positive, and it'd be a positive again, so we get a positive. That is the first derivative test in a nutshell, but it does tell us this is uphill, this is downhill, this is up. Did I just do that backwards? Okay, back it up. Downhill, this is uphill, and this is downhill, this is uphill in the region. The deal is, the fact that it's down, up, it also indicates something really, really important too that we like to find. The fact that this went downhill to uphill around negative 2 is proof that there is what we call a relative minimum. If you go, downhill and then uphill on a graph, then you have to have hit a low point or a valley so this is a minimum that happens here. It has to be. Okay, think of the logic. Up to that point, you're going downhill. The derivative is 0 at negative 2, and then you're going uphill immediately after. Then the next one we get to, I'm going to put that in a different color. Went with purple that time. Just go with a more, I don't know, let's go pinky kind of stuff. I wish I had a brighter pink on this one. But if I look at this one here, the 0, you're dealing with up before it and down after it. If you're going uphill to a critical value and then downhill immediately after, that has to be a maximum. So what we just found out is if you see the values of the slope going negative downhill and then positive after, you've indicated there's a minimum, a low point, a valley in that graph. And that's what we look for. The first derivative is changing from negative to positive around a critical value means a minimum. That's the proof that is occurring there. If you see the first derivative going from positive to negative around a relative or extrema, then you have a relative maxima. And then the last one, you see the same thing as before. You went downhill then to uphill. When you go down on the left and up on the right of a critical value, you know that you're indicating a minimum, a low point in that graph. It's 100% sure. It's actually the first derivative test is. This is an evidence test of where a min or a max occurs. You must see the derivative changing in those specific ways to indicate a max or a min. So on the left-hand side, I'm actually going to summarize this a little bit for us. So a relative minimum, or valley, we like to call it, happens when f prime equals 0 or is undefined, and f prime changes from negative to positive around that critical value, downhill to uphill. Okay, so we saw that change. It's an indication. This would be like proof in the court of law. Like if you know how in court stories it's all about mounting evidence to justify a claim. This would be evidence to justify our claim that there's a minimum, a low point in that graph. And then the other definition that we did is the relative max is the vice versa of that. Our peak happens when f prime is 0 or undefined. And, so the and is important, not just the change. And it's not just that the derivative is 0 undefined. You have to show this change. F prime changes in the order from positive to negative. You go uphill on the left and downhill on the right. So positive to negative. Got them. So we get extrema by showing the first derivative is 0 or undefined to get the critical values. That kind of is the turning point. We tested numbers in between the critical values to indicate slopes being positive or negative. A pattern of the slopes being positive or negative or positive around the critical value indicates a peak or a valley. Okay, so tons of information going on there. Do it one more time to ice it down. And that'll be great for this video part 2, I would say. Plenty going on. So function is increasing or decreasing, find those intervals. So we're not finding the extrema, we just send the increase and decrease, and I probably will throw in the extrema as a bonus, because it'd be fun. So let's do it. If we're going to do that, we need the derivative. F prime of x is a pretty nice one. Derivative of half x is a half. Derivative of sine is cosine. So one thing to note is that this derivative is never undefined. Cosine is never undefined, it just goes forever. There's no denominator to take, half is just a number, so we're good. We're just going to find out where this is equal to 0 for our critical values. And this is tricky. You could certainly use a calculator, but it actually, if I solve it and I add cosine to both sides, or rearrange this a little bit, it's cosine of x equals 1/2. We could solve this in a couple of ways, but I'm going to hearken out our good old unit circle. When is the cosine a half? And cosine, do you remember, is the x-coordinate in your unit circle. So there's two places where you have 1/2 and square root of 3 over 2 here. And this coordinate point right here is 1/2 as your x-coordinate, your cosine of that angle, and negative square root of 3 over 2. And those respective angles are pi over 3 right here. And so I'll try to write that in there. That's pi over 3. Zoop. And this angle down here is pi over 3 short of going all the way around. So that's 5 pi over 3. That's another angle. These are the two places on the unit circle. If you had a unit circle, it has those angles listed there. But you're looking for when cosine of an angle is equal to 1/2. This equation is what are those angles. So we just found out it's pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. So those are our critical values. Pi over 3 and x equals 5 pi over 3 solves the derivative equal to 0 using the unit circle. And it says from 0 to 2 pi because we could keep going around and find an infinite number of solutions, but thankfully they limited us to just those. Let's talk about first derivative test here. So I'm going to put my line out there, critical values on it. We know things are cool at pi over 3. Something good's going on there, and at 5 pi over 3. We also want to put the endpoints on this. I accidentally put arrows on there, but we really don't have arrows. We have a limited domain on this one. Definitely stops at 0 and 2 pi. And so when we test our derivative, we're going to pick something between pi over 3 and 0 that you want to put into your first derivative. And what do you like taking the cosine of? And if you haven't done it in a while, I kind of like pi over 6, cosine of pi over 6. But I also like, I don't know, we could cosine of pi over 4 if you wanted, square root of 2 over 2. But I don't know, I'll just put in whatever comes to mind. We'll do pi over 6 for this one. Okay, got it. And then the in-between for, and I probably should have written it in another color. You mind if I go back and write that in blue? It just doesn't stand out in my eyes unless I do. There we go. Thanks for hanging with me. But between 0 and pi over 3, I'm going to put it into the derivative, and I meant it's 1/2 minus that, the cosine of pi over 6. So I'm actually putting it into the derivative. I'm showing it here just so I can have that accessible. It's easy to do with your mind. What do you want to do between pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3? Kind of looks like a 2, doesn't it? In between there, let's pick something on the unit circle. It's in this region right here. Anything you like to take the cosine of. I really like pi over 2. Straight up, it's the cosine of pi over 2 is 0 because the x-coordinate is 0, straight up. So I'm going to put pi over 2 in there. My choice. You can choose something different if you like. And between 5 pi over 3 and 2 pi, I'll probably choose like 11 pi over 6 or something. And I'll help you remind you where that is on the unit circle. And we'll be good to go. Okay. So when I test those values, let's talk about pi over 6. If I had a unit circle, I probably should have pasted one in this document so you wouldn't have to bear with my horrible handwriting. This is pi over 6 right here. And so the cosine there is square root of 3 over 2. Okay, and then the sine is 1/2, just in case you wanted to know. So when I look at this, I'm looking at 1/2 minus the square root of 3 over 2. And 1/2 is a little bit smaller than the square root of 3 over 2, magnitude-wise. So 1/2 minus the square root of 3 over 2 is going to be negative. And that's all that matters is I need the sign, remember? And then cosine of pi over 2 is 0, so 1/2 minus 0 is 1/2, but I just wanted to know its sign, positive result in the first derivative at that value. And then 11 pi over 6, let's hearken to the unit circle again, is this angle right here. And the cosine of that is also the square root of 3 over 2. The sign is negative 1/2. So when I put that in, if I get 1/2 minus the square root of 3 over 2, again, that makes a negative value. And so those are the signs. What that indicates is that there is, when you go downhill to uphill around a critical value, you have a minimum in between. And when you're going uphill to downhill, you have a maximum at the critical value in between. So it tells you where those max and mins occur, peak and a valley at those locations. The problem did say intervals of increase and decrease is what it wanted to find, so let's just put that in purple. The intervals of increase and decrease are where the slope is positive or negative. Negative would be decreasing, of course, positive would be increasing, and negative would be decreasing. And it wants the intervals, but since I've made such a nice little picture over here, you can just basically write, all right, it's decreasing from 0 to pi over 3, right? 0 to pi over 3. And I need to do this properly. 0 to pi over 3, our first critical value. And then at the other one was 5 pi over 3 to 2 pi, that region in between those. That was where the two decreasing negative slope regions, and then increasing happened when we were going between those two critical values, between pi over 3 and 5 pi over 3. It was a positive slope. And we're heading to the finish line. So in that case, we wrote the intervals of increase and decrease. I recognized the max and mins, but it wasn't asked for. First derivative test. How about that for part 2?